We're about to step back in time and hear a voice from a world that really no longer exists. This is a first-person story of a cattle drive in the American West, a story of survival, of danger, and a chance encounter with a true legend. So let's meet our storyteller, John Wells. His own words right here paint a pretty stark picture of his life. He left home at just 10 years old. Think about that for a second. By the time he was 23 in 1883, he wasn't a kid anymore. He was already a seasoned man, ready for a journey that would basically define his life. So, what did it actually take to move a herd of cattle clear across a continent back then? You know that romantic image of the lone cowboy on the prairie? Yeah, you can just throw that right out the window. The reality was a massive logistical operation. And the numbers? Well, they're just staggering. First up, the herd itself. After gathering up cattle from 6 different counties in Texas, they had a moving sea of 4,000 animals. Can you even imagine the dust, the noise, the sheer scale of it all? Okay, so how do you manage that many cattle? Well, you need a whole lot of horsepower. The crew had a staggering 115 horses for the journey. That's a small army of animals just to keep the main herd moving. All right, so you've got 4,000 cattle, over 100 horses. So the crew responsible for this whole shebang must have been huge, right? Nope, just 13 men. That's it, 13 guys, including the boss and the cook, staring down the vast, untamed wilderness. And let's be clear, this was no walk in the park. The trail from Texas all the way up to Dakota was just a relentless gauntlet of danger. It was a daily battle against brutal weather, crippling exhaustion, and of course, the constant threat of the unexpected. And they didn't have to wait long for their first real test. I mean, a terrifying one. At the Red River crossing, they hit quicksand. John Wells describes the absolute terror of watching 10 steers just get sucked into the river. The very next day, 13 more. Each one was a desperate struggle, a life-or-death battle for the animal and for the men trying to pull it free. And this right here, this breaks down a single moment that could have gone so wrong. Wells sees the danger and warns his boss, who seems to just kind of blow him off. And just like Wells predicted, the freed steer explodes from the sand. Without even a moment's hesitation, Wells throws his own horse right into the path of that charging animal, saving his boss from being trampled. This was about way more than just saving cattle. It was about saving each other's lives. But you know, it wasn't just quicksand and weather they had to worry about. Their path cut right through the lands of other nations, which led to maybe the most incredible moment in Wells's entire story. So there they are, near the Wichita Mountains, and they come face to face with an absolute legend, Quanah Paker, the last and most famous chief of the Comanche people. But this wasn't some big showdown. His request was simple, and it was direct. His people were hungry. And what Wells describes here is just this amazing snapshot of a world in transition. You have Quanah Paker dressed in pants, a hat, and a 6-shooter. He looked just like a cowboy. And then his companion, in traditional clothing, representing a world that was, well, it was fading. The boss gave them a yearling, and the two cultures went their separate ways, peacefully. As they continued through what was then called Indian Territory, it was just one unpredictable encounter after another. Every new tribe they met was a new challenge, requiring this delicate dance of caution, respect, and, well, diplomacy. I mean, think about the whiplash. One day, you've got 17 Kiowa visitors in your camp, sharing a meal. The next, you're trying to de-escalate a tense standoff over a couple of killed cattle. It was this constant balancing act, you know? The wrong word or the wrong move could have had deadly consequences. But out of all these encounters, the absolute weirdest one involved one of their own guys, a cowboy named Frank Hendricks, and a group of Cheyenne who were convinced he was not who he said he was. This story is just wild. The Cheyenne were so certain, they had an entire backstory for him. A warrior insisted Frank was his long-lost brother, stolen as a child. They pleaded with him for over an hour to abandon the drive and rejoin his people. Frank was so intrigued that he almost went, but he said he'd only go if Wells would come with him. When Wells refused, the mystery just remained unsolved. All right, so after leaving the mysteries of Indian Territory behind them, the crew began the long, grueling push north. With their massive herd, they crossed state lines, forded famous rivers, and traversed hundreds and hundreds of miles of unforgiving open country. Yeah, this timeline really gives you a sense of the sheer scale of their trek. From Texas, they pushed north through the wild frontier towns of Kansas and across the vast plains of Nebraska, finally reaching their destination near the Black Hills of Dakota.
This was a journey that stretched from weeks into months.
And get this, even when they were far from the dangers of the wilderness, there were still human obstacles to deal with. When a Kansas landowner, what Wells called a jayhawker, basically an opportunist, tried to extort a toll from them, the boss got a little creative. He wrote a check for only half the herd, then rode ahead to the next town and wired the owner to cancel it. A little bit of trail-hardened cunning to even the score.
So, after months of hardship and adventure, after crossing rivers, mountains, and plains, the long drive finally reached its end at the company ranch near the Black Hills of Dakota.
And just like that, it was over. The tight-knit community, forged in shared danger and backbreaking work, it dissolved as quickly as it had formed. The men who had depended on each other for their very survival simply said their goodbyes and went their separate ways.
And this is how Wells ends his story. It's not with some big boast about his own bravery or the hardships he went through. No, it's a quiet, almost lonely plea to reconnect with the 12 other men who shared that incredible journey with him. A hope that maybe, just maybe, one of them might read his words and remember.
You know, Wells's account is a rare gift. It's this precious window into a world that has just gone forever. His story survived, but it makes you wonder, doesn't it? How many other voices, how many other incredible stories of courage and conflict and connection have been lost to the dust of the trail? And what have we lost with them?